Welcome again to the microphone, my chosen doctor, and I think this guy is so full of information and so full of good practical information for you, for me, for everybody, and that's why we have him on this show, and also why every one of these recordings is being sent to his headquarters so they can be part of a much bigger thing to get out to more and more people. But today I wanted to challenge the doctor on something that you all, no matter who you are, if you live in Central Florida, you fall prey to this. And it kind of has several leads, so to speak. Heat, dehydration, and sports drinks. And I'll start off by saying that somebody was telling me the other day that if you think you're jumping into the pool and that's going to cure all your heat problems, that you could even sweat in a swimming pool.
Oh, absolutely.
So run this through us. I see people all the time out mowing the yard and they're just drenched and they'll go get a beer. Are they helping themselves?
Well, to a beer.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you
no,
go.
I don't want to go on record as to be against beer. If it's a good beer, it's probably okay. Understanding, okay, that you're dehydrated. The beer is going to make you more dehydrated. It may make you feel a little bit better. Not a bad thing, but you need to reward yourself not just with that beer, but with a good pint or two or three of water.
Now, the other day we got a question on the 2-hour show that we do in Orlando, and it was a man who said that sometimes this time of year he's been standing up feeling a little bit dizzy. He was scared it was a heart problem, and you said sometimes it could be through dehydration, that we just don't drink enough.
We don't drink enough. And one of the things when I was with the military was that we used to make very, very certain that people drank water. Okay, the drill sergeants would get right up and just watch you do it. Okay, because the wise ass factor. Well, I can handle this. ... No, people pass out and die. Even teenagers on the football fields in the summer in Florida will die. Okay, every year we lose one or two. It's a big tragedy, and you would think we would learn something from it. Well, the fact is we've learned nothing. Okay, we will never learn anything, but I'm hoping that you will learn this, and that's that when you start to become dehydrated as a result of the heat, and in Florida, it's very, very intense. You'll say, well, I'm sweating like crazy, ... I must have enough water in my system. Actually, you don't have near enough. Okay, you drink lots of water, and you'll know that you're doing the right job because you're going to be peeing a lot. If you're not peeing, or if the color of the urine is dark, you're in trouble. Okay, you need to fix this. Why? Because the kidneys go bad, the brain goes bad, the heart craps out. It's not a good thing to have happen. So what we do is we advise people to be drinking perhaps as much as a quart per hour if you're out on the golf course, maybe more. If you're out on the football field, it's going to be even more than that. And what do? We give people these expensive sports drinks, thinking that we're doing something fancy. Gatorade comes to mind very quickly. Why? Because here we are in Florida after all. But how did Gatorade come about? And it came about from the World Health Organization looking at inexpensive ways to deal with cholera. Now, cholera is an infection, okay, that results in colitis, and you end up losing lots and lots of water out through your fecal material. Watery diarrhea like crazy, and you die from cholera due to dehydration. So you'd have to start these IVs and pass 2 or 3 liters of water per hour to people, and that's very, very expensive in third world countries. So what they found was that if they took water, local water, and added salt and a little bit of sugar to it, it was every bit as good as the IVs. So the World Health Organization used to pass out these little packets, and I'm sure they still do in South America and Africa and other places like that, but here in the United States, we're not smart enough, so what do? We buy $2 Zip Fizz and think that we're doing our job with that. Well, here is the long and short of it. When you put water in your stomach, it doesn't absorb very well. It'll sit there. It'll slosh around. It's not very, very comfortable. Why? Because in order for the water to be absorbed, in order for it to make it from your stomach and into your bloodstream, it has to be done in the presence of a little bit of glucose, not much, just a little, and salt, balanced salt. Okay, what does that mean? A little sodium chloride, a little magnesium, a little manganese, a little zinc, a few others. And then guess what? The stuff passes through very, very quickly. Hence, you have Gatorade. So what do I advise my patients to do? Very hard thing to do to necessarily go out and grab some Gatorade. So you can do it on your own by using water, tap, works just fine. You can add just a little bit, a pinch of sugar to it. Or you can eat something that has sugar in it. It does not have to be in the water. You can have a small piece of candy, a small piece of licorice, a small piece of chocolate. There'll be enough sugar in that. and then you take a capsule or two of a chelated mineral complex. Okay, my favorite is Magic Minerals. Why? Because I developed it. So I guess there's a certain amount of pride involved with it, but it's also cheap. Okay, so what does this stuff work out to? 120 capsules for $24. You only need one. Okay, so you take one of these puppies. What does that end up costing you? About a nickel? Okay, maybe, it's just really, really cheap, along with your water and a little snippet of candy or a little snippet of food. Now, all of a sudden, you are golden. You can have that beer. Okay, you can have it all day long. I wouldn't, but you could. Okay, but that's really what it's all about. For you to absorb that water, you need to have, obviously, water. Not so obviously, a balanced salt. And the third thing is a little bit of sugar, and it doesn't take very much at all.
What about so many of the people, even the adults, who run right to a soda machine? They want the Coke, they want the Pepsi. They think that's actually doing something for them.
Yeah, it's doing very little for you because the caffeine in those beverages is also a diuretic. Now, to those of you that don't know what a diuretic means it makes your kidneys pee out more. Not a clever way to deal with dehydration. Okay, you are getting the sugar. Actually, it's fructose, oddly. This is going to be a problem for you if you don't mind putting weight on, but not enough salt to really do the job.
Yeah,
so if you have nothing else out there and you are in the desert and you are in dire need of something to drink, I think a warm Pepsi, a hot Pepsi, a boiling Pepsi would probably be just fine. But if you're trying to deal with dehydration, you're doing far better with a glass of water with a splash of lemon in it. Okay, that little splash of lemon, just a squeeze of lemon, or a half a cup of lemonade, okay? And then you add the minerals to it, and you're good to go. You will save yourself money. You may save your life, okay? But in Florida here, it is a big deal. So a chelated mineral complex, I prefer mine. You may have a perfectly good one for this purpose. Doesn't really matter, but it doesn't take much. Okay, it may take a quarter of a daily dosage of these minerals in addition to whatever water you decided to ingest, a little snack of sugar, and you are good to go. Pocket the difference. Give it away to the guys in the pink gowns at the airport banging on drums and eating seaweed, because after all, they may or may not be Buddhist monks. Although if you got to look at the latest warnings in New York, they probably are not.
Now, even a person who's not outside being active, or even in the heat of Florida, can somebody be in a general climate like a Minnesota but still get dehydrated just because the body needs water?
Ever been to Minnesota in the summer? It gets pretty hot.
It gets
there.
hot. Missouri
the
same.
Yeah, Missouri. You know Missouri pretty
Oh.
well. It gets cold in the winter. It gets hot in the summer. I mean, it's very interesting. I grew up in Maryland to do the same thing. It doesn't really matter. Okay, you go out to Arizona. Okay, you can become dehydrated in Arizona very, very quickly because the ambient humidity is so low that you will lose way too much moisture through your breathing. Okay, you don't have to sweat moisture out. You lose much of your moisture through your breath. Okay, the breath, the air comes in at a low humidity, it goes out at 100%. Okay, so what does this mean? It means you are going to lose lots and lots of water by the way you breathe. If you watch dogs, that's how they perspire, actually, in a manner of speaking, is through their breathing. They will pant like crazy in order to get rid of a bunch of the toxins that we do by sweating things out.
How about drinking water too fast and too cold in the summer?
Well, don't do anything
Can
too
I make
fast
you
or
sick?
too cold. Well, what happens? It shocks the system.
Oh.
Do you necessarily want cold? The answer is no. Okay, your temperature is what you really want. It's like when you're drinking beverages. Okay, cold makes you want to eat and drink more. Okay, so in a restaurant, they always give you the cold beverage when you sit down. It makes you want to eat. The first thing they do is ask you, what would you like? What cold beverage would you like to drink? Then they hand you the menus. Okay, at the end of the meals, when you get your hot beverage, that tends to slow down your desire for food and further drink. Makes you feel satisfied. So if it were me, I wouldn't be drinking cold anything. Okay, you drink room temperature. It's better for you, but there's some people out there that just can't handle that. So do what you need to do. Get the water in there, get the minerals in there, and get a little bit, not too much, of that sugar. And those soft drinks have way too much sugar for anybody with any sense. I mean, that's just unfortunate but true. If you're drinking sodas, you deserve to be fat.
All right, and keep yourself healthy. For for everything that we mentioned on the show today, I know of one place to get it, and that is a nutraceutical store at a place called
Stages of Life.
That's it.
Come on into our store. It's open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, same hours as the office, and it's in Longwood, just off I-4 and 434. Easy to find. Our phone number is 407-679-3337. Our website is stagesoflife.net. And check us out on Facebook at Stages of Life Medical Institute.